A nationwide poll suggests that 5% of American high school students identify themselves as homosexual.
You got the people at the shops talking, you got everyone all around school, everyone knows your business.
What would they do to Alex physically? Would they harm him?
In the indigenous religions of Africa and the Americas, homosexuality and homosexual status was not to be resisted, and it was considered a sacred calling and led one to a respected position of tribal leader or shaman. What about now?
I don't like it because it's like, you can impress your book on me, but I can't take it away from you.
Why is this taboo when this is supported? They're both essentially the same thing, except one's between two guys and one's between two women. However, the question we have to ask ourselves is what boundaries limit people from expressing their true sexuality?
I was probably like 8 at the time.
Great.
8, 9, somewhere around there, maybe 10. Very young.
Okay.
And I just remember being like completely aroused by Princess Leia chained up and in a bikini.
Okay.
I just think at that age I was really like ashamed by it because I knew that I was supposed to like boys.
4 or 5 or 6. And I had this Army Man guy toy, and he had his shirt off, and he had camouflage pants, and I was like, oh, he looks nice. And I think that's when, that's the earliest thing I can remember where I was like, oh, I like this.
Okay.
It's a little hazy the first time, but probably when I started to realize that it was happening more often was in junior high. We would go into the locker rooms, like, before practice or whatever, and I just noticed, like, the attractiveness of guys, and then I noticed like guys' bodies and stuff, and like how they were shaped and stuff, and I was like, that looks cool. I like that.
High School Musical is great for me. I loved High School Musical. Oh yes.
What about?
Oh yes, Zac Efron was fantastic. Just because that was the type of movie I liked, and then that was around the age, when I started thinking about things.
Maybe 5th grade.
Okay.
Because that's when we first did sex ed at my old school.
Okay.
And we were talking about, like, the organs and stuff, and I think that kind of maybe, like, turned on a light bulb, and I was like, girls, gross.
Okay. Coming out. How'd you do it?
It was to my closest friends. We were riding along, and they asked about it, and I was like, yeah, I am. And then, domino effect. I started telling more people and more people, and they started telling people, so...
Right. So basically...
It was a comfortable coming out story. I came out to my mom first, and we were coming back from...
Manhattan, and he asked me, what makes somebody gay?
And she's like, I don't know. Why, honey? Because I think I am.
It was almost kind of like a relief that he finally brought up the subject and wanted to talk about it. So
when we got home the next day, my mom told my dad.
And my first emotion was maybe disappointment. The disappointment was I didn't do my job as a man kind of thing. And I know that that's not what it is. And basically told him nothing changed.
This doesn't change anything. Just don't act like a girl. Which I'm okay, because I don't act that way.
It was kind of a weird thing that happened. I wasn't planning on telling my family. My dad's raised me since I was 2 years old on his own. And so we've always done father-son things.
For me, it was fine with, like, me knowing it or, like, telling my friends or stuff, but I knew that it was a bad idea to, like, ask or question around my parents and stuff.
Both of my parents are ministers, so that, in a way, people would probably see as a disadvantage towards me, but we're Methodists, so we're pretty open about homosexuality and what it entails.
My dad never really seemed surprised. He was always just kind of like, just make sure you know before you tell your mother. And then, when I told my mom, she said, I don't know what the big deal is about bumping pussies and giggling. I don't think it's fun. And I was just like, oh my God, my parents.
I was 16 and I was talking to someone who lived just outside of town who happened to be gay, and it was basically my first association with someone that was actually gay as well. So of course I was attracted to that.
My dad was very, what is the word? He was pretty much racist. He always made comments about gay people that he didn't like. I mean, I could be watching a show on TV and he'd be like, you can't watch this because you're gonna be gay, and
So he was very against it.
he was very against it. He was all about making me the manly man.
I'm kind of one of those flamboyant gays, so you can just tell. So, like, every school I've moved to, that's kind of like one of the first burdens that gets put on me, per se. Like, I started with best friends, and then I kind of just let it bloom into people finding out, and if they'd ask, I'd be like, yeah.
But they were always really supportive. You know, whatever I wanted, they were cool with.
Right.
My best friends, however, were just like, you're not gay. Don't even. Like, you're not gay. You're so not gay. They totally dismissed it. But I think I watched a TED Talk recently.
Yeah.
And it was called 50 Shades of Gay.
Yeah, I saw it.
Right. Well, yeah, the one they told me about. And it kind of was just like an aha moment for me. Because it was very like, I have had those feelings. You know, because I don't consider myself to be fully hetero, or I'm nowhere near completely homo, but, you know, I always felt like I was in the gray, 50 Shades of Gray.
I started to hang out with him like a little too often in my dad's eyes, probably. And so I kind of sensed that he kind of caught on to like maybe he wasn't just a friend or something like that.
Right.
She's worried that her parish will maybe disown her and my dad for what they do, and they could like lose their jobs.
And so finally my dad started to like bring up like, who is this kid? Like, maybe you need to stop hanging out with him so much or whatever. And then finally, like 6 months later, I got the urge. One day I just came up to him and I was like, well, what do you want? I'm gay. He didn't know what to say, so he was pretty silent, which I don't know what I was expecting, because it was a spur of the moment thing. I was scared to death of his reaction, to be honest. But what are you going to do? Like, what's the worst that can happen, you know?
And I told her I was gay. But I don't really count that as coming out, because my mother kind of already knew. So that was... So it was pretty easy with my parents. I feel bad for, like, the homosexuals who have it worser, and, like, their family just owns them and kicks them out. But, like, my parents were pretty cool about it. And I think they've known for a long time before even I knew, so...
My dad had heard rumors, because when I finally decided to come out to friends and stuff, of course, you know, it's a small town that's going to get around and stuff. And one day after a football game, my mom picked me up and brought me home. And when I got home, my dad was very drunk for one. And he just took me out of the vehicle, and he was very abusive.
It was weird. It was weird for around 4 or 5 months. And then, like, it just changed to where he would just... We wouldn't ever talk about this. We wouldn't ever talk about me or being gay or anything. But it would be known.
He grabbed me by my hoodie, and he was carrying me, and he carried me to a vehicle, and just threw me around a lot, and just abusive. And I remember him telling me specifically, tell me now if you're gay, because I'd rather have a dead son than a faggot son.
I don't think any father is like, I hope my son, when he turns 16, tells me that he's gay because I really want a gay son. I don't think any father in this generation would say that.
After that weekend, I never went back home.
Coping with sexuality.
So you would think, you know, with being a close-knit town, that word's going to get out.
And he's going to be ostracized.
Yeah, but
so
that
far, hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened.
Which is not what we expected.
As a younger teen, I definitely struggled with it. Like, probably 15 through 19, I was like,
Right.
I live in Onega, goddamn Kansas, and I think I'm gay.
Yeah.
This is not going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
The thing with Waterville and Blue Rapids is, of course, I had friends, and of course, I had people that supported me. And there was people that I wasn't friends with that knew me my whole life. But then coming here, I got to start over and be myself completely before anybody knew me. So I would say in Waterville and stuff, it was a smaller town, a little bit more judgmental. And coming here, there's more variety of people. there's more activities to do that I could express myself doing.
It's definitely like harder to live in a small town, more judgmental, and it's definitely just more filled with the late generation. Like it's filled of maybe older people who grew up thinking that being gay was something that you should be killed for, or something like that.
But like when it comes to the older people, I just think it's how they were brought up, and it's not something you could just be like change because that's how they were raised. So
Right.
They're used to their way.
Growing up in Los Angeles, living in San Diego, living in Apple Valley,
Because there's so many people.
there are so many people, and so you are exposed to so many different lifestyles and so many different cultures, and you're forced to be tolerant of diversity. Where here it's just we're very isolated, and you don't have an influx of diversity,
But I
whether
think-
it's religion or culture or lifestyle.
There was a football game, and I decided I should go because I joined the school, so why not go to the football game, right? And I literally got ganged up on by the high schoolers, and they like circled me, and it was bad. I started crying. That was probably my most terrifying situation. Otherwise, it was usually just like name calling and things getting written on my stuff, like fag and cocksucker and stuff. But I actually really do appreciate all the bullying. Like, I don't think I'd be who I was today if I wouldn't have been bullied.
I think some people at school don't like it, so I can kind of feel like they're repulsed from it. They're staying more away. They're staring at me more with that what the hell kind of look, So I've gotten that, but it's nothing, no one calling me out on it. So,
Okay.
nothing too bad.
I had a job, almost, at Kears in town, but
What is Kears?
it's a grocery store.
Okay.
But it involved me having to stop wearing my earrings and shave off my mohawk, which is kind of more of a appearance thing.
Yeah.
But I felt like that could have been because it's more of like I don't know. So that was kind of depressing because I was like, I've lived here so long and I know almost everyone, so it's like I can't have this job because I look like this,
I remember vividly one kid telling me that I was going to go to hell because I had let it slip at one point, I guess, that I not only was attracted to men, but was attracted to women as well.
Oh God, I hate it.
You do.
Like when people are like, "That's so gay." Okay, so if the other day, one of my friends was looking at some of the art projects in our art room, and they're like, "That's so gay," and I'm like, "How is that gay?" It's kind of annoying because I'm like, it really makes no sense to be like, "That's so gay."
Uh-huh.
Like maybe if it was like related to a gay topic, like if you saw two guys making out, that's so gay. Yeah, that's gay. But if you're just saying it because you don't know what else to say, it's kind of worthless because it makes no sense.
It doesn't bother me, but it should.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but it's just certain people who say it, I think, really bothers me. Because I don't perceive myself as stupid, but the term has been going on for ages. It's had many different meanings to itself,
Right.
so I don't know.
It's been normalized.
Mm-hmm.
Been involved in sports ever since I've been a kid. Both my dad and my grandfather grew up playing all types of sports, and so I kind of grew into that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made it a lot easier to kind of cover up.
Right.
Not necessarily that I was trying to cover it up, but it just made it convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to say, being more masculine definitely has caused me less problems. Because I see people who are a little bit more femme than me, or a lot more femme than me, and I can see people judging them far more than they would even judge me. Maybe I wouldn't get as much playing time, or maybe I would get hassled in the locker rooms and stuff like that. So it's just a combination of stuff like that just made it so much easier just to keep quiet.
And I don't feel that way in Lawrence at all. I feel very accepted in Lawrence.
And why do you think that is?
Well, Lawrence has a huge LGBTQ community, and Lawrence is also, a blue dot in a red state. It's a very cool place to live.
Look at how people react to him now. It's a positive note.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if they knew he was gay in his early years? You think that would have changed?
I do think it would have changed.
I would think so
How
too.
so?
Because they didn't have the chance to know him and the kind of person he is and develop a trust and a relationship with him as a 12-year-old, let's say, as compared to and if he would have come out then, they don't have anything to base the relationship on other than him being gay. Now they see who he is. They see what a wonderful person he is, a community servant, everything. I think that if he would have been a bad person and, the
Not involved in-
stereotypical what the Christian community think gay people are, if he would have been more like that, then it wouldn't be a good thing for others to come out, because they think, oh, if that gay
He's
person
setting
is
a
like
bad
that,
example.
then every other gay person is like that.
I think in a bigger town it's more accepted just because there's more people, there's more varieties of different things. I think in a smaller town I don't necessarily think that people don't not accept it. I just think that everybody knows everybody. It's so, they don't want everybody else to, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that.
You think it might affect the community maybe since they're so close?
Yeah.
Like, I am who I am all the time, but to what level? So when I'm in Lawrence, like, I don't feel as if people are judging everything I say, or if I bring up something that is gay related, I don't feel like people are listening in and taking notes about things that I'm doing wrong. And so that's kind of nice. But yeah, definitely a bigger liberal city is definitely a place for a lot of people to live comfortably, no matter what they are.
It's still Alex. He's still an okay person, and now we see this person who's gay in our community. I guess gay people aren't that bad. I think that is a positive thing. But I think what it has done is, because he is such a good person, that it would make it easier for other kids to come out, because the community sees that, okay, Alex is gay. He's an okay person. He hasn't tried to attack me and rape me. I think it makes it. The younger generation is more accepting, and I think that in turn will make the older generation more accepting. And I don't think this would have had to happen like this in a larger town.
Religion and its effects on sexuality.
Religion has had a lot of effect on me, even though I'm not religious, nor are my parents, but I grew up in such a Catholic area, and then I went to Catholic school for my first year of college, and I had a girlfriend. And it was like the parting of the Red Sea when I'd walk down the halls, and I had people tell me that they could save me. And I confronted one girl, I was like, save me from what?
Right.
And she just kind of was like, well. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I just kind of walked away.
You're born into a family that are either Christians or Mormons or Buddhists or what have you. And they're going to raise that child to what they believe in. So they're going to be either stuck in a tunnel vision mindset, they can't think outside the box.
Or they don't know what's outside.
Or they don't know.
Right.
But that's all they know. And that's how this develops, generation after generation after generation.
I believe in God, but I don't fully follow the Bible because the Bible contradicts itself so many times.
The Bible wasn't written by Jesus or God. It was written by someone else, and I mean, they don't know what God was really. I don't know. I just feel like if God were to, if he's really supposed to love me and all that, then he wouldn't make me gay if it was a bad thing.
One part of the Bible says, like, homosexuals go to hell, right? But there's another part of the Bible that I don't remember, like, the specific passage, but it said something about, like, men liking men, women liking women, how it wasn't bad. It was just, like, the sexual part that was bad about it.
My sexuality was completely judged by people who felt like it was going to be a problem, which I didn't really understand, because it's like, saying, I'm on a diet, you can't eat donuts.
The church I go to now, I feel very comfortable. But I went to church events before where I just felt like people would know. And it seems like every time I tend to go to a different church, they always bring that subject up.
I don't like it because it's like, you can impress your book on me, but I can't take it away from you. I don't think that's fair.
Right.
I don't think that's fair at all.
So.
Because religious freedom is protected under the Bill of Rights. But sexual freedom is not.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is an innate human process. Religion is not. It's a biological process.
Yeah.
you can't ever take that away from someone, so I think it should be protected under law.
For years I thought, you're not born gay. It's not possible. And so for years I've thought, okay, you pick and choose what you want to do.
Well, I know for sure that it's not a choice on my behalf. I do not believe that it's a choice. I believe you are born with it.
I know I was born with it. I completely 100% believe that.
I think I was made this way, and I can't choose to be. I don't know myself if it's right or wrong, but I know that God loves me either way. You know what I mean?
If you think about it, being homosexual or bisexual or transgender or anything like that has a lot of negative effects from the general population. I don't think you would choose to be neglected or abused physically or emotionally. And so I kind of think that's really silly how people think, oh, I chose to be bullied or I chose to be this different.
When you say if they're born gay, I've probably changed my mind on that now.
I don't want anyone to take my right to be an atheist away, and I don't want to take anyone's right to be religious away. But I feel like there needs to be a huge separation between church and state. Because legally there should be, but I don't feel like there is. I feel like a lot of people bring the religion argument into it and, creationism and things. But I don't think that's fair. Back to my donut argument, just because you think it's right doesn't mean I do. The people that were during the civil rights movement who, wanted black people to remain as second-class citizens, or, people on the other end of the women's rights movement, eventually they had to eat their fucking words and say we were wrong. Don't you feel like in 30 years or however many years from now, you're going to feel like you're on the wrong side of an argument? And he's like, absolutely not.
People are just afraid to accept something that has not been accepted for so long. Since being gay has been banned and not accepted for generations and years, I think if people start to accept it, they're afraid of what might happen. People are more so afraid, maybe if they have a gay friend they're accepting, maybe society will start to not like them because they have a gay friend, or it's something different and it's hard to accept something different. And so why do it? If you're not gay, then why even bother?
So the fear of change.
The fear of change, correct, yeah. That'd be it.
People afraid of change. People afraid of not having things the way that they've always been or the way that they should be in their mindset.
Right.
If it's a free country, then why can't everybody be themselves and be free? Why can't they, if a straight couple can get married, then why can't a gay couple get married? Gay people don't sit there and they're like, oh, straight people should get married. So I don't think that anybody should judge who you love, and I don't understand why you wouldn't want to let two people in love, unify and be together forever if they want to be.
I think it's going forward, just slowly and surely.
If you're willing to express yourself in front of anybody, you choose to do that. Because if you don't do that, you're going to regret it later on in life. And I'm glad I started now, because it was hard holding back something that was so big that I've held a secret for 17 years. You're going to breathe. You're going to feel like breathing a lot more, and life is going to get a lot easier. It's going to get a lot easier.
It's obvious that there are many factors that influence the expression of sexuality for the individual, and of them, religion, peer pressure, community, generation gaps, etc. You see, boundaries limit people. Boundaries prevent people from living truthfully in a true life. I think that instead of focusing on the boundaries, we just need to focus on the individual and how we as individuals would want to be treated. After all, we are all just.
I'm just.
I am just
A person. People.